Hi Year 8s. I'm here today to do a demonstration on chicken schnitzel with roast potatoes and steamed vegetables. So I've put my apron on, washed my hands, and I've got all my ingredients ready. I've got my recipe behind me, so you always have to have that really close by so you can refer to it whenever you need. So first of all, I've got some potatoes here and I'm going to cut them into quarters. Always be really careful with these. Now it does say in the recipe to cut them into halves, but these are quite big, so, and they take quite some time. I don't peel my potatoes, I don't mind it, but you can peel your potatoes if you want to. And we're going to pop them into a bowl and put some oil, mix some oil and some salt through that. Ready to go into the oven. So we've got it preset on 180, and they're going to take some time. So you've got to remember to time cooking your potatoes and your schnitzels, okay? Now I've got a baking tray with some baking paper and my potatoes. I'm just going to pop them on here. Then they've got salt and oil on them, and I'm going to put them in the oven. I have set the oven timer on 100 for an hour on 180 degrees. So we just have to do that. But whilst we're waiting for the potatoes, we'll get everything else ready to go. So the next thing we're going to do is dice to prepare our veggies. We've got carrots and some beans, so I'm going to prepare those. Okay, so with my carrot, I'm going to peel it, and then I'm going to cut it into julienne, which is matchstick size pieces. Now it's really important when you're doing these to have a really good sharp knife, but be very careful. I must say that it is better to cut your hand with a sharp knife than a blunt one. You'll do less damage, but let's hope no one cuts their fingers. Okay, so this is what julienne carrots are. Now carrots don't really take too much to steam, so we will put them aside once we've done them, and then get the chicken schnitzel ready. Now the recipe does say I think it says a quarter of a carrot. You know, it's always good to have more veggies than not. So we've got lots of veggies there. Okay, and the recipe calls for 16 beans. Now I'm just going to line them up like that to cut the ends. So what I call top and tail them. And then we'll chop them in half though, so they're all about the same length. Now the reason why you want them the same length and about the same size as your carrots is, take a guess, so they all cook at the same time. Okay, so I'll chop these up and then I'll pop them aside and get ready to start doing my chicken. I've got some chicken breast fillets here. Now this has got 500 grams, but we only need 300 grams, but they do come in here. You can go to the deli and get exactly what you want. So I'm going to open these, and you will see that this is a really thick chicken fillet, and it also has the tenderloin that I've just taken. So I'm going to show you how I would go about filleting this, or cutting this fillet into half, so it's a thinner piece and it weighs less for your chicken schnitzel. Okay, I've got it here. My knife is very sharp, and I'm just going to cut through and open it up. Now this is going to be enough for one. Now if you wanted a large piece, you could keep it open like that, okay? But we don't want a huge amount, but this is going to serve 2 people. Okay, now we need to get a wooden spoon so you can bash it so we can bash it a bit and make it flatter. Now you don't want to completely destroy it, but you do want to just make it so it's even. So if you can see the chicken fillet, it's got thick on one side and then it's thin on the edge. So you just want to make it a little bit thinner. Okay, so we've got 2 chicken fillets like ready to go. Okay, now I've got 3 bowls here. I've got some with flour in them, one that I'm going to prepare with an egg and about a tablespoon of milk. I'm then going to get a fork and just whisk that together. Now we're going to crumb the chicken fillets in breadcrumbs. Now I've got some panko breadcrumbs. They're coarser, they're quite lovely. Or you can use any kind of breadcrumbs. You could even use breadcrumbs that are from old toasted bread. Okay, so I've got my chicken fillet here. I'm going to dip it into the flour. Then into the egg mixture. And then into the breadcrumbs. Now you want to push your breadcrumbs into it to make sure it's all covered, because you don't want you don't want a part of your chicken being not breadcrumbed, and also you don't want it to fall off. So you push it on. We've got that. You can then, if you wanted it double crunchy, you could put it then back into the egg and into the egg breadcrumbs again, but we're not going to do that. Okay, the other side, the other fillet into the flour, egg, and breadcrumbs. Okay, so we've got another chicken fillet. Now, here are my 2 prepared chicken fillets that are crumbed, ready to be cooked. Now, the reason why I did my vegetables first on this board and then the chicken was to ensure that we weren't cross-contaminating. So if you put raw chicken onto a chopping board, you must make sure that you clean it properly before you use it to cook any salad or vegetables that will not be cooked. Okay, so we're ready to go. I'm going to move over to the stove and I'll show you how to cook the schnitzels. Hi, year 8's back again, ready to cook our schnitzels. Now, I haven't got it on the heat yet, otherwise I would not be doing that. So here I have a steamer, which we've got holes in. I don't know whether you guys will have steamers here, but you can always boil your vegetables if you don't. It's got holes in it and it's over a pot of water that's got about that much water in it. We're going to pop that on and get that to the boil. Now we're going to put our pan on and get it nice and warm. And I'm going to put a tablespoon of oil. And a tablespoon of butter. Now, you use the 2 different fats due to the butter tastes beautiful and the oil's got a higher melting temperature, burning temperature, so it allows the butter not to burn. Now, I've started doing this at about the 30-minute mark of the potatoes being in. So I've kept checking the potatoes to make sure they're almost cooked, and this will take about 10 minutes to do. Okay, so once we've got this hot, we've got to make sure that the oil is and the butter is hot enough for it to go in so the meat starts to sizzle straight away. Otherwise the breadcrumbs just take in all the oil and yeah, it gets quite soggy. So we're just going to let that heat up. And I've got some tongs so I can use them. Oops, that was a bit dangerous. Okay, just let that heat up. And I have my schnitzels ready over here to go in. And I've got my chopped carrots and beans here. So I'm going to cook one side for 5 minutes, and when I flip it over, I'm going to put my veggies in the steamer. Now that's on at the moment, and so the water will heat up and it'll be ready to go. Just waiting for this to heat up. I might put it on the bigger element here. Now you may like to get your mum or dad to help you at this stage. I don't know what stoves you have at home or ovens you've got. They might be gas, so you might have to ask how to light the oven. Mine's electric, so it's quite easy. It's yeah, similar to the ovens at school, and not the top because that's electric, but the ones at school are gas. Okay, so you can always, when to test the oil, you can get one of your breadcrumbs and put it in. If it starts to sizzle around the edges of the breadcrumbs, it's ready. It's not ready at the moment. So, okay, our oil is now at a temperature that's ready to go. You might almost be able to hear it start to sizzle. That's perfect. Now you want to cook it for about 5 minutes on each side until golden brown. Okay, these are now ready to turn over, and that's beautiful and golden there. Okay, now over here you can see, I'll just turn the camera, I have my steamer steaming away. So I'm going to place my carrots and my beans together. I put them on either side of the steamer. That's just because my kids don't like them mixed, but that's just being fussy. So I'm just going, it's going to be another 5 minutes and then they will be ready, and the potatoes should be ready. So we've been 5 minutes, and now I'm just going to turn this and see if it's okay. It's a little bit darker on that side than the other, but that's fine. And so our chicken schnitzel is ready. Now you can tell by the resistance when you press it. Now if you are worried about it not being ready, you can always cut it open a little bit and have a look. It's actually a little bit under. So instead of leaving it on the stove top and letting it, and it burning, you can pop it into the oven for 5 minutes with while you finish off the potatoes. Okay, our potatoes and our chicken schnitzels are nearly ready. So I'm just going to serve up the vegetables because they've been steaming there for about 5 minutes. Now this serves up too. So as you can see, I've got a plate here. Another one. We've got 2 servings here. So if you were going to make this for your family for dinner, you double it or triple it depending on how many people you have in your family. Okay, so here I've got my veggies on the plate ready to go, and I'll just get my potato and chicken out of the oven. Okay, so we've now got our veggies all plated up, ready to go, and the potatoes are nice and golden and the chicken is ready. So I'm going to just take it out of the oven. And you can see here how nice and golden they are. You can keep going if you want them to be really crunchy. Okay. These are quite big serves. And my kids love roast potatoes, so the more the better. But that is, my friends, a really nice, healthy dinner. Now when you do this, make sure you clean up your plate with a nice clean tea towel, and that's ready to go. You could even put, no, I was going to say you could put a slice of lemon there, but here we go. And that is a chicken roast potatoes, chicken schnitzel, roast potatoes and veggies. Okay guys, good luck with that. I'll be on the post tomorrow for your class, but any questions about this, yeah, put it up on the posts. See ya. Hi Year 7s, today I'm going to show you your second production, and we're learning how to use the oven today. So all your ovens at home are going to be different to mine and different to the one at school, I'm assuming. So we'll do the best we can, but you might have to get mum or dad to show you how to light your oven or turn it on or set it, okay? So I have tied my hair back, kind of, washed my hands and popped an apron on, okay? And that's always important to keep dirt off your food and food off you, okay? So today we're going to be making pizza scrolls, which are basically a scone dough that we roll out into a rectangle and put all yummy flavorings in, like tomato paste, ham, grated cheese, and then we roll it up and slice it and bake it. So it's very delicious. So come with me and I'll show you all the ingredients that we need. Hi Year 7s, today I'm going to show you your second production, and we're learning how to use the oven today. So all your ovens at home are going to be different to mine and different to the one at school, I'm assuming. So we'll do the best we can, but you might have to get mum or dad to show you how to light your oven or turn it on or set it, okay? So I have tied my hair back, kind of, washed my hands and popped an apron on, okay? And that's always important to keep dirt off your food and food off you, okay? So today we're going to be making pizza scrolls, which are basically a scone dough that we roll out into a rectangle and put all yummy flavorings in, like tomato paste, ham, grated cheese, and then we roll it up and slice it and bake it. So it's very delicious. So come with me and I'll show you all the ingredients that we need. Okay, we have some ham, some cheese that we'll grate up, some red capsicum, we've got pepper and salt, and we've got some oregano here, which is a really good pizza herb. We've got some tomato paste, self-raising flour, butter and milk. So we've got 3/4 of a cup of milk, 60 grams of butter, which is 1/4 cup. We're going to use 2 cups of self-raising flour, a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste, 1/4 capsicum, 2 slices of ham, and I can't remember what the recipe says. I think it's 1/2 cup of grated cheese. So we're going to get ready and start preparing our ingredients. Okay, I just checked the recipe and it's 3/4 cup of cheese. Now you don't want to stinge on cheese. So I've got a grater here and my block of cheese. I'm just going to grate some up. Put a bit of muscle in there. Okay, now I think this is probably about 3/4 cup. You can measure it, or there's never too much cheese, I say. Okay, be careful of your fingers here. I'm going to pop my cheese over to one side. put my grater in the sink. Now I have a big chopping knife here, which is really good to do our ham. So I'm just going to roll the ham up like that. I hope you can see properly. And just slice it. Put my hand in a bear claw so you don't get your fingers. It's pretty easy to slice the ham. I've got really nice ham off the bone. You can use anything. You can put bacon if you've got bacon, or you put chorizo sausage. Okay, I'm going to turn my chopping board around so you can see me with this. Okay, I'm now going to chop up this nice and slice the capsicum and chop it up into a small dice. And we've got our ingredients pretty much ready now. Okay, my daughter just walked past and said, Mum, you gotta put some olives in this. So I have some olives in the fridge. You either love olives or hate them, but I'm just gonna tear some olives up. And we love them in our house, nice and salty. Who doesn't like salty stuff? But I challenge you, if you don't like olives, I challenge you to try them and try them and try them again until you do like them, because that's what I did when I was younger. Okay, so we now have some olives, capsicum, ham and cheese. On to the next part. Okay, so now I've got my self-raising flour, which is plain flour with baking powder in it. So what does the baking powder do you think? I know you guys know, but I'm going to tell you anyway. It makes the dough rise. Okay, so I'm going to put in 2 cups. Now it's good to sift it. So I forgot to get a sifter, so I'm just going to get a sifter. Now, sifting does 2 things. It puts, aerates it, and also gets any of the lumps out that might be in it. So we need 2 cups. Now make sure that they are full cups, because you don't want to put 3 quarters of a cup in, and then you have too much, your things are too runny. Okay, so we've got in a nice big bowl, we have got 2 cups of sifted flour. Now I've got some butter here that's kind of softish, and it's 1/4 cup or 60 grams. I'm going to put this in, and if you guys have ever made scones before, we are going to rub it into the flour until it kind of has a, it's like a sand kind of, or a grainy kind of appearance, okay? And there's no big lumps of butter in it. So we just will rub that through until it's nicely done. Don't clump it together like this. Use your fingertips when you do this. Okay, we have now rubbed it all together, so you've got a nice grainy, finely grainy mixture of butter and flour. Now comes the messy part. Some people don't like doing this part, but I like it. Now, I do this with my hands. You could do it with a spoon or a knife. We've got 3/4 cup of milk, and pour it in. Then I'm just going to, around the outside, just bring the dry flour into the wet ingredients, the milk. Okay, we bring it together. Now it's really important now not to overwork it, because otherwise we get a really hard dough. You just want a really nice soft dough that just comes together. Now you get lots of lots of dough on your hands, but just do this. Rub them together till they come off, and then I'm just going to sprinkle some flour onto my bench top and bring this all out and bring it into a nice dough. Just knead it slightly. As I said, we don't want to knead it too much. Make sure you working in a clean area. A little bit of flour on the bottom. Okay, so now's the fun part. We are going to roll our dough out, basically a scone dough, as I said, out into a rectangle of measuring about 20 by 30. Now it's really important that you have it in a rectangle shape, because then you can get a long, like a sushi roll, I guess it is, but now it is kind of hard. Make sure you've got enough flour on it so it doesn't get sticky. Now we're going to get 12, I think, 12 scrolls out of this, so we want to make sure that it's all ready to go. So go one way, another way. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. Okay, now what we're going to do now, I think the recipe says, what does it say? 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. 1, 2. And just with the back of just a normal dessert spoon, do this and spread it over. You want to make sure that you get enough over the whole lot of it. I'm going to put a tiny bit more. Now if you liked chili, you could put chili in this too, because it would be delicious. Okay, this. Now I'm going to put some oregano, which is the secret herb when you get margaritas at the pizza shop. Okay, got that. Some salt, because I didn't put any salt in the dough. You can. And some pepper. Now I'm going to start layering the ingredients that we prepared earlier. Now I don't want to put it all over the whole surface, because I want to be able to leave a strip down here that will join up our scroll. So put the ham and some capsicum, olives, yum, looks good. I'll use all those ingredients. And now, not all the cheese, because we're going to put some cheese on the top when we roll it up. Now here comes the next part that's really important. Okay, we are now going to roll it. Now it's really important that you do roll it, you don't fold it over each other, because you want to make sure it's all tucked in. So I'm going to pinch it, see how I'm pinching it along and rolling it. Now once we get over to this part, you want to tuck it up under like a sushi roll. Okay. Just clean that up a bit. Now I've got a fantastic roll there. Okay, we are going to grab a tray with baking paper that we prepared earlier and our knife. And I'm going to cut it directly in the middle. Then on each side, middle again. Then now we've got quarters. We're going to cut each of those quarters into half. So I said 12. 8. I don't know what I was thinking. I guess you probably could get 12 if you wanted, but you don't want them too thin. Now I'm going to, I'll bring this over so you can see. I'm going to pop them onto a tray. Now put them close together, because they'll expand as they cook, and then that's why it's called a pull apart pizza. Now I've just flattened them off a bit. Now we're going to get a pastry brush and brush it with some milk, and that will make it go nice and golden. Okay, just going to brush it with some milk. Don't flood it though, you don't want it flooded. So the protein in the milk works with the in the flour, the fat, and it makes it go nice and glossy. Now it doesn't matter if you don't put this on, but it won't give you a nice golden glossy kind of finish. Okay, and last but not least, I'm just going to pop a little bit of cheese on the top of each one. That will be totally delicious. Okay, so they're ready now to go into the oven. I've set the oven at 220, and they're going to go into the oven for about 20-25 minutes, depending on your oven. But also just make sure you keep checking them, and you want them to be nice and golden brown, not burnt. Okay, so I'm going to pop these over into the oven now. It's a really good idea to set a timer on your oven, because there's many a times when I put things in the oven and go off and think of and do something else and think about other things, and then go, oh, I've left something in the oven. So make sure you put a timer on your phone or your watch if you've got a digital watch, and so then it gives you a beep beep so when it's ready. So 20 minutes, and then check, but then it might need another 5 minutes. So we're just waiting for the timer to go off, and we've got a couple more minutes, and about actually 30 seconds, and then I will check them and see if they're okay. The headless cook. Okay, 10 seconds to go. Okay, now they look really delicious. I'm going to pop them straight onto the chopping board like that. And then you can see, we look down here, you can pull them apart. That's why we've called them pizza pull aparts. Clean them up a bit, and they look absolutely delicious. Well, how do we see that? And they look delicious, straight out of the oven, ready to eat. Well, good luck with that, guys. Hopefully you can get the ingredients to make them next week. Yeah, we'll talk about that tomorrow in class. See ya.